Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Light therapy helping so many people with so many situations, from their skin to their mental health and in between. We're going to find out more about that right now. Aubrey, Chimene joins us, and we've talked before, and I'm fascinated about this whole concept of light therapy. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Steve. Started my morning with some light.
Let's go there. So what's your usual daily regimen?
Most mornings I get up and I activate what's called the health and balance points, which are primary or principal acupuncture points that help support and balance the immune system, the digestive system, get my mental clarity up, help my joints work a little better now that I'm in my 60s. So all of those things I take about 4 or 5 minutes and I just activate those points, and that gets my day started.
Amazing. Now, let's let everybody know that you offer the products, but you also the training and this course and the certification. So what I'm hearing from you, this almost sounds like it's like a prophylactic to make sure that, you're healthy and you stay healthy.
Exactly. I have not had, in my 30s, I was very sick. I had arthritis. I couldn't walk a half mile. I lived on antihistamines and pain relievers. I haven't had an antihistamine in over 20 years now, except for when I got stung by wasps. I don't have arthritis anymore. I have not seen a medical practitioner for any kind of metabolic health issue in over 20 years.
Amazing. And what type of light are you using?
Well, we use a variety of them. You can see some of them on the back here. I primarily, in my practice, use pads where you can light up specific areas of the body. And this is my favorite tool. This is just what we call a torch. And it looks like a little tactical flashlight that shines red light. And that goes with me everywhere.
All right. So let's talk about that particular light, because I've seen them before. I've seen them on your website. You sell them, of course, there along with the pads.
Sure.
That one particular light, what would you do with that?
Oh my. Well, like I said, I'd start the morning with activating acupuncture points. A few weeks ago.
Let's go right where you are right now.
Okay.
So you're taking that torch and you're going to different points on your body.
I literally start by bringing energy up into my brain. Then I come in to activate points on my forehead. There's points on the arm. I do a couple of points on my legs. We provide charts with every torch that we sell to get you started with health and balance points for humans or horses or dogs or cats. So you can be doing this for yourself and for your animals on a daily basis, or at least a few times a week.
So this really did start with animals, right?
For me, it started with animals. My heart horse was hurt badly in the mid-90s. And luckily I had a very holistic vet who, instead of saying, put him down, said, let's try light therapy. And he's now 40 years old and meets me at the gate every morning and is sound as a dollar.
Oh my gosh. And do you do the same kind of therapy with that horse?
That's exactly what we do. We do lights on specific points. If his tummy is off, with horses, colic is a big issue, digestive issues. We can use the red light to help stop the colic, get them digesting better. If they're old and creaky and their hips hurt, much like us, we can activate points to help get those joints working correctly. I have a 160-pound 9-year-old dog. He still jumps on things that are 5 feet off the ground and thinks he's a young man because we keep his joints going and his hips going and his energy flowing.
So with the torches, do you need multiple torches?
You can do it with just one. There are certain, if you're working professionally on other animals, if you're trying to speed things up, there are some techniques that are better with 2 torches. You're pushing energy along a muscle or a meridian, but you can get started with a single red torch and work out from there.
So with that torch that you have and what you do, on a daily basis, how long do you spend on each of those target points?
15 to 30 seconds.
And you're literally just holding it there, and that's it. On to the next.
We say 30 because a lot of people count seconds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They count a little quicker than they should.
Gotcha.
But the points are activated. We call it activation, usually within 5 to 10 seconds.
It's amazing what light therapy can do. And I think people shy away from it because they don't know enough about it. Of course, that's why we're talking about it.
And we're trying to demystify that. Exactly. I mean, start with just where the pain is. I have one of my marketers plays drums in a heavy metal band, and he really beats his elbows up, right? He's just really hard on those joints. Well, I sent him a torch for a completely different reason, but he took it with him and he started using it on his elbows. And I got back this testimonial at the end of the weekend. He'd had it for 2 days. And he's like, oh my gosh, my elbows don't hurt from sitting. And I played all weekend long. He did 3 nights in a row. So you start with where the pain is, and then you start learning a little bit more and a little bit more about how to help with range of motion, help with suppressing immune responses, for example, or helping to get muscles to uncramp, whatever the issue is. And we teach that. We teach live classes every week. People can we have a Facebook group where people can ask questions, get support from very experienced practitioners, manufacturers, people who use all sorts of light therapy tools, not just ours.
Sure. You are the director of the Photonic Therapy Institute. If somebody's listening, watching, they want to find out more, the website is?
Photonictherapyinstitute.com.
And everything's right there. I mean, you really have a lot of information. I mean, I don't think there's any question that's unanswered on your website if you just poke around a little bit.
Oh, I'm sure that the biggest thing is there's so much the biggest complaint we get is there's too much information. Where do I go next? And we're doing our best to organize that for people. Gotcha. And some people need to ask questions live. So every Thursday morning, they can register for what we call office hours. It's a free webinar. We go for 90 minutes to 2 hours every Thursday. We teach a little bit about the basics of light therapy, and then we open the floor to questions about any light therapy tool for any species.
So I love the way you say that, any species. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. A human.
Light works on dogs just like it does on people.
Sure. So I have a reoccurring, doesn't happen often, but one knee, I feel a little bit of pain there sometimes, goes away, comes back, might not feel it for a month or two. If I was in that situation thinking about light therapy, what would you suggest?
I'd make sure you had a torch with you so that you have the tool you need. Mm-hmm. And then since you know that you have an issue with your knees, you log into our members website and you download a chart for supporting healthy knees. And it's all the different acupuncture points around the knee and other places on the body that help keep your knees balanced, improve the range of motion, make sure the ligaments are aligned, and it'll take you 5 minutes or so.
What you just said is probably one of the most beneficial things that we've done so far in these podcasts. And the reason I say that is I feel more in touch with what's going on, that I can just log in. Here's what, elbow, knee, whatever it might be. Bam, there's what I need to know. There's the spots I need to target. I got my torch. I'm ready to go. And, let's say something else comes up. God forbid, you have shoulder pain. Okay, let me go hit that.
Exactly. And we have memberships. We're a community. We are really a community of people working in light therapy all around the world. We have members in South Africa and Australia and New Zealand. And the community is there to answer questions, to give help. So we have free memberships. If you can come to our webinars free every Thursday morning, or we have supporting memberships where you can get into the recording libraries and you can get to the advanced charts for everything from dealing with irritable bowel syndrome or prostatitis or women with menstrual cramps. You can get into those advanced libraries and download the chart you need right then. Or you can even request custom charts.
Interesting. Okay. And I just mentioned shoulder. I went to, I got a massage like 3-4 days ago because I just had a knot in a shoulder. And it just, even they said when they were doing the massage, like, whoa, this one's pretty sizable. And they spent a lot of time in it. It feels better. But it's kind of reoccurring. So in a situation like that, would I do the same thing for a knee pain? I just log on and
you'd start off with using your torch on that knot. And we have actually members that have come up with very creative ways of using like a selfie stick to attach their torch to be able to get it to knots like that. If you're like me and have short arms and you can't reach everything, they use a selfie stick with a GoPro mount.
Yep.
And they put it anywhere on the body. It cost them like $15 to create that. So you would then maybe look at the shoulder chart and work on shoulders. It might be that you need to do some stretches or realignments. You could work with one of our certified practitioners virtually to help you with different ways of using a light or different approaches. If maybe we need to realign the neck, or we need to open the shoulder and the elbow, whatever that is. So there's lots of different ways to get guidance.
Yeah. And to your point, sometimes when you have a pain here, it may be originating from someplace else. So you really kind of target down to where it is. We do have a question. And if you want to reach us, instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. Jake is in Port Jarvis, New York, and says, can you tell me the difference between red light and blue light therapy?
Well, it's the blue is a very short, high energy wavelength. It doesn't penetrate very deeply in past the skin, but it's extremely antimicrobial. So it's very good for infections, acne, skin regeneration, and it's a cooling wavelength. Like blue is a cooling color, red is a heating color. So we'll often use blue when we have something like psoriasis or eczema, or something where there's surface nerve pain and you're very irritated and it's very hot. We'll use blue or green, which are cooling colors, to soothe it. And when you use red and blue together, it's very powerful. We use that for a lot of emotional work and eye work, because the red seems to cancel out that short, wake you up too much of the blue.
Interesting.
You don't have the damage that you get from some blue screens and so on.
What about if you have minor skin damage, maybe change colors and pigments, spots and things like that? Would you use the blue light or the red light for that?
Actually, I'd probably, we're learning so much in the last few years. I would probably use green. Green light, one of the studies that's been coming out on it, it breaks apart what's called melasmas, which are the congregation of that melanin creating that spot. And so it's been shown to help break apart some of those different congregations of color when you get too much of a dark thing. So I'd probably try that and start there.
Okay.
And
so
yeah, go ahead.
I'm just wondering if you're going to do that, are you buying a torch, and how are you doing your whole face?
You could be doing a torch and activating straight. Let's say you had a specific spot. Okay. I used to have some melanomas here. All right. We would use this directly on that, probably depending on the torch, for 1 to 3 minutes per day. All right. If it was a larger area, you could then move it, or you can come out and just do it a little bit longer and light up larger area of the body.
Okay. Interesting. Because now I'm seeing more. I think we do have a call, but now I'm understanding more about what you're talking about, because now you get a larger area. Hi, can you hear us?
Hi,
What's your name?
my name is Sabrina.
Hey, Sabrina, we have Kay with us today. She's from the Photonic Therapy Institute. Do you have a question?
Yes, yes. I was wondering if light therapy can help with chronic back pain, because I have like really, really bad back pain in my lower back, and I was just wondering if because I've tried like everything and nothing seems to be subsiding it. So I was wondering if light therapy could help with that.
Well, of course, it depends on why you have the back pain. That would determine where we put the lights. But certainly the 3 things that the FDA will let us say about any light therapy device is it lowers pain, increases circulation, and stimulates cellular repair. So if your pain was due to pinched nerves or things being out of balance, we might need to use lights to help realign the spine and relax and rebalance the ligaments and tendons. Photopuncture can be very helpful for that, because we can activate acupuncture points that help with lower back or the upper back. Pads can be very helpful for that, because we can put the light directly where the pain is, where everything is tight. That's where I suggest working at least for 1 or 2 sessions with a certified light therapist to help guide you on where to put your light and different approaches to get the best results, but empower yourself with your own tools so you can do it in your own home. Maybe rent something, try it out, see if it works, and then you know what you want, and you can get your own tools.
Do you did you just say rent something?
We rent pad systems. So instead of having to invest in a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 system, you can rent it for a few $100s. We also we have certified light therapists that rent torches. Obviously, you have a credit card on file. If the torch doesn't ever make it back, you end up paying for the torch. But that it's pretty simple and straightforward. Yes.
Wow, interesting. Didn't know that. Sabrina, does that answer your question?
Yes, yes, it does. I will definitely be looking into this.
Yeah, go to the website.
Just reach out to us, and we'll be glad to get you started.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for calling. Wow. See, the things you learned. Didn't know you could rent. And I wondered about the pads. I know that they're, what's the best description? More of a commercial feel, like you're going to a spa. So you're hitting more of an area.
Depending on what you're doing with them, yes. The pads offer a second, I should say, aspect. You have light, but you also have sound. The pads are pulsed at different frequencies that cause a different reaction from the body. Some frequencies are better than TENS units for lowering pain. Some frequencies are kind of like putting your truck into low. They add a lot of power. So if you're going into broken bones or old scar tissue or old damage, they help with getting the light further into the brain or opening more lymph and releasing more inflammation. So that's why working with someone who's trained in light therapy can be really helpful to guide you to the best tool for what you're trying to accomplish.
Curious about having a session with a light therapy consultant. Typically, what does that cost?
Yeah, of course, this varies all across the world, but I would guess usually you're looking at about 100 to 125 an hour.
Okay. And is that part of your community? So you would pick somebody from the community to do? Okay. All right.
Yeah, we have a brand new certified light therapist directory on our website. Many of our certified light therapists are just now getting their information up there, but it's growing, and you'll be able to go in and look for somebody. And it doesn't have to be somebody in your town. That's the beautiful thing. It can be virtual. Somebody helps guide you through this, and it's just like virtual coaching. And that really grew out of what's happened the last couple of years with the pandemic. Certified light therapists went, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? Oh, we can help people by just empowering them with their own tools.
Yeah, because all they're doing is talking and showing you where to put either the pads or the torches.
Or a panel, whatever tool. Yeah, some people, I had one person that just had invested $75,000 in a new bed, light therapy bed, because their child has early onset juvenile arthritis. And they just wanted their child to be able to climb in this bed every day. Well, that's more of an investment than most of us can make. Mm-hmm. But they still needed guidance. You don't just put the kid in there and bake him like he's in the oven, right? Yeah. They still need to have some, what's happening, how to determine how that's changing the body. Have you had enough, et cetera?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't get a pad or even torches unless I, talk to somebody and walk me through it. And so beneficial for, that hour session, because you're going to learn so much. Has anything ever covered by insurance? Do insurance companies recognize the benefit here?
If it is prescribed by a physician, especially in the dental industry, we've had quite a bit of success with dentists prescribing, for example, a torch with a fiber optic probe that can go into the mouth. All right. So needing to get light directly on an infection in the mouth. That has been very successful, but we're just we're on the cusp of insurance really covering. And right now, the ones that have been successful, it's been a reimbursement more than it has been a paying for it up front. Mm-hmm. Although people are now being able to purchase light therapy with their medical savings accounts.
Oh, okay. I'm curious. Even from the Zoom video, I can tell like your complexion looks really good. Are you using light therapy, on your face on a regular basis?
Well, it's part of everything that I do. By activating the health and balance points every morning, I'm stimulating circulation and better lymph drainage. And for me, lymph drainage is really good. So it's really important. I focus on working with clients that you've got to open the drain field, right? You got to open up the lymph before you start flushing out all of the toxins in your body. And so like I said, I was very sick in my 90s, and I had a mentor who started forcing me to detox. And when I learned that I could do that with light very easily, without all of the bad side effects, without the headaches, it's become just a constant part of my life.
And to your point, Kay, I learned in the last 6 months how important the lymphatic system is within our bodies and what it does and how it's so overlooked by the medical community.
That's
And
right.
if it is, then it's overlooked by the regular people. Um, you need to have proper drainage of your lymphatic system. It's so critical.
And only in the last 4 or 5 years has the medical community even recognized that we have lymph drainage at the base of the brain. And now we have all these light therapy devices, helmets, and so on that are coming out for treating the brain, for activating the brain. Very few of them light up the base of the neck. So you may be stimulating all of this new circulation, all of this new cellular growth, and there's nowhere for it to detox. So what we really, really counsel people on is open that drain field first, right? Get the light on the back of the neck, get everything opening and draining, and then, or at the same time, activate the brain.
Amazing. I think we have another call. Can you hear us?
Hey, what's going on?
Hi, what's your name?
My name is Joshua.
Hey, Joshua. Kay is here from the Photonic Therapy Institute. We're talking about light therapy today. What's your question?
So I'm just curious, does light therapy have any benefits for mental health?
Certainly, certainly. Now, bear in mind, I am not a licensed psychologist, psychiatrist. I cannot make claims, but especially with depression, PTSD, other issues, when we can help with supporting like the liver. Depression is anger turned inward, right? And we see a direct relationship to the liver. We start detoxifying the liver. We start cleaning out the lymph drainage. We help people shift into a parasympathetic state so that they're sleeping better at night. We see less depression, less emotional imbalance. We've worked with clients that have bipolar, and they start working with the pad systems. And one of the pads is one that you use over the eyes, which we highly recommend for mental balance, emotional balance. When she first started working with that, she would see one side is orange and the other side is green, where it was a mix, even mix of red and blue diodes. As she started using the lights, within a very few sessions, that would start balancing out, and she started seeing the red and blue, or in that case, magenta, all the way across instead of having that divided brain. And she found over the next year, her meds went down. She didn't, not by her, she didn't change her meds, her doctor did.
Oh, interesting.
So
is there any,
go ahead.
I'm curious, is there any kind of conflict with medication with light therapy?
There can be. And the biggest, if the medication is photosensitive, many of the different antibiotics on the market, tetracycline and so on, can cause you to be light sensitive. So you have to be careful there. And the other issue is if you want that medication to stay in the tissue, the light therapy may cause enough circulation to flush it out. So for example, people getting Botox injections, it's going to flush that Botox right back out. Now, in my opinion, it might be better to use the lights than the Botox. But for example, if somebody has Botox injections because of Bell's palsy, or they need that to control a symptom that's very drastic for them, well, then they're not going to want to apply the light directly to where they're having the injections with the Botox.
So based on your experience, and it's interesting how you just brought that up, Kay. Let's say you have crow's feet by your eyes, whatever it might be, you're getting Botox for it, your forehead, you have lines there. Would you say, based on your experience, we can't make claims here, that you could use the light therapy instead of the Botox over a period of time?
One of the first areas that light therapy was approved by the FDA was for estheticians. And it's one of the largest markets for light therapy in the world, is estheticians using it to regenerate and rejuvenate the skin. One of the chemical reactions of photobiomodulation, of absorbing these photons, is that the body produces more collagen. And so it fills in those areas. It helps to create a stronger matrix to hold up the skin. I'm in my 60s and I really don't have crow's feet.
No, you don't.
And so, I'm not focused on aesthetics. I live in Arizona and have a horse farm. I don't go out and I don't use a pad every day to help. But in general, I'm keeping my body hydrated, number one, and number two, all the circulation going through and keeping my lymph drainage.
This is fascinating because that one torch has so many multi-purposes. You could be using it for many different things on your body, a little pain here, a little there, overall well-being.
Allergy attacks, bites, stings, kids getting wounds. All of my grandnieces and nephews have their own torches, whether it be for emotional calming, because I have one great grandnephew has very justified anger issues. All right. They came by him honestly, but he gets so angry, but he can take his green torch and put it in the palm of his hand. And that's a point that helps to calm the nervous system. And he can just count to 10 and get over his anger issue.
So I'm going to ask you a question before we're just about out of time, but let's say you have a child that has ADHD. Maybe they're also, I'm speaking about somebody I know that is concerned that her son, who's 6, might have that, and just hyperactivity. Would the torch help?
I always say start with 30 days of health and balance points. We've seen remarkable recalming. The child has to be on board. You can't do it for them. It has to be a permission based. They have to mentally want this to be part of their day. You can't force it upon them. But if they become part of the process, we've seen many youngsters be able to get themselves back in balance, walk away from meds, and be able to have a much more productive school life and social life. So
amazing. Photonic Therapy Institute, all the information is there. The products are there. I learned today you can rent them. How fantastic.
You can rent them.
Yeah. Okay, I really appreciate all the information. This is we're blazing some new trails here and letting people know about something that's been around for quite some time, but we haven't heard about it until now. And there's so many different things that light therapy can help you out with. Why wouldn't you? Again, my thinking is multi-purpose on that torch. So many different things that you could be doing on a daily basis, or, when a pain crops up.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's just your go-to tool.
Photonic
Thanks so
Therapy
much, Steve.
Institute. Yeah, thank you. I just want people to know photonictherapyinstitute.com is the website. And Kay, we'll catch up again next time.
Thanks, Steve.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.